Gwen and Brad were both athletes when they met in college.
Well, he's a football player and he's super adorable.
They were both Christians and even involved in a campus Bible study.
We were two Christian kids in college who were outwardly making great decisions and being leaders in our respective, groups.
But they had a big secret. Gwen and Brad were having sex on a regular basis.
You don't feel so guilty in the moment because you're driven by your emotions. You're driven by the moment. And sometimes sexually, when you're in that particular moment, you don't think about what's right and what's wrong.
It became this blanket of shame. I was mortified. I couldn't believe that I had allowed myself to get into that position. A battle raged within me.
The battle raged because premarital sex went against Gwen's most fundamental values.
I became a Christian when I was just 9 in Sunday school class at church. And then as a teenager, I continued to say yes to God in very new and exciting ways. My faith really became my own. And I remember when I went to church camp, I knew that God was saying, Gwen, you're mine. I've got a big plan. Join me in this great adventure.
But as Gwen grew older, she chose a different path, a path she'd regret for years to come. She was 20 the day she first took a pregnancy test.
And when the stick turned blue, I thought my life was over because everything had been a secret.
I was floored. I'm thinking, that can't be right. There's just no way. It's not supposed to happen to us. I'm a college football player and she's a college volleyball player, and there's no way. Why would God allow that to happen?
The thing is, I went to college as a girl with convictions, a girl with purpose, and a girl with love for the Lord. And I was still willing to say yes to God for many things, but boy, when it came to relationship questions and compromise, I just started to say yes to other things. It just comes one small compromise at a time. And I think I was very shocked with my own behavior.
But the secret pregnancy didn't last long. Gwen and Brad headed to an abortion clinic.
I really, really made a terrible, terrible decision. I took a life.
What were your beliefs about abortion at that time?
Never at any time did I believe in my heart that abortion was right.
When the procedure was over, Gwen was left to face the physical and emotional consequences.
I remember just crying myself to sleep at night wondering, was my baby a girl or a boy, and what would they look like, and why did I do that? And I would be so angry.
At first, Gwen was too ashamed to ask God for forgiveness.
Well, because everything was such a secret, having sex in our relationship, in our dating relationship, was a secret. And then having an abortion was a secret, of course, because Christian couples don't do that.
Gwen and Brad graduated and married. They started a family and got involved at their church. They told no one of the abortion.
So I was leading worship and singing and chasing his heart with my life. And now have a healthy family and wonderful children. And I thought I was doing everything I needed to be doing.
But in her heart, Gwen felt she needed to share her secret.
For 15 years, we didn't tell anybody. And I think that's so common within the walls of the church, because it's so much easier to just put on your Sunday smile and your lobby smile. How you doing? I'm doing great. Yeah, everything's good. And we've all been redeemed and forgiven, but we don't want to go there. We don't want to go to our mess. And for me, I was healed and I was restored and I was experiencing the joy of the Lord in my heart. And I knew his love and I was growing in it, but I was not willing to tell anybody.
Then one night at a women's meeting, Gwen heard a speaker share her story of healing after having an abortion.
And I sat in the back of the room saying, I can't believe she's doing this. That's so hard, but I saw what God was doing. It was obvious. He was moving. His Spirit was moving in the room. And women were coming to healing and embracing His grace and forgiveness. And a lot of times we won't forgive ourselves. But I saw the hand of God move because she was willing to tell.
Brad and Gwen decided to tell Gwen's parents.
They were shocked, and they were filled with grace. And we cried, and I asked their forgiveness. I said, I had no right. And it is the deepest regret of my life. It will always be the deepest regret of my life. And yet, I told them the reason I was telling them was because God needed me to tell other people.
Gwen now shares her story openly at conferences and retreats and helps women find healing from mistakes of the past.
Jesus died for every single sin. There are no sins that fall outside the scope of God's ability to forgive. And when we understand that, and we understand that when we confess our sin, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sin and to cleanse us for all of the unrighteousness, as the Bible says, that's when healing begins.